Welcome to the Mastering the Mind podcast. Today we welcome Belgian professional sprinter Kevin Borlée to the podcast. Kevin specializes in the 400-meter event and famously competes alongside his twin brother.
Kevin has competed at major European and World Championships, as well as in 4 Olympic Games. Some of Kevin's main achievements have been winning gold at the 2015 and 2019 European Indoor Championships in the 4x400 meter relay, winning silver in the 2010 World Indoor Championships in the 4x400 relay, and winning gold in 2016 at the European Championships. So let's welcome Kevin to the podcast. Salut Kevin, bienvenue sur le podcast Mastering the Mind. Nous sommes ravis de vous parler.
So it's in French now.
Yeah, it's in French.
I'm fluent.
What do you think of that, Kevin? 10 out of 10 or no?
It was perfect.
Love it. Now, how are we?
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Wait, if you hear some weird noise, it's my dog. So no worries.
We're dog lovers here, so no worries.
What breed do you have?
English bulldog.
Oh, nice. Very
damn.
nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
It's right there.
Oh,
look
there
at him. What's his name?
Winston.
Winston.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I apologize throughout this podcast. I'm slightly under the weather. I think I've got a cold that's going around England at the moment. So if I mute myself, it's because I'm coughing.
Okay.
He's dying silently, but
Yeah. No, but to kick off the podcast, a great place we like to start is, and for the listeners to get to know you, is talk us through your journey to date. So from growing up to where you are now, who is Kevin Borlée?
Whoa. Who is Kevin Borlée? I've always been a real competitor. Like since I'm 3-4 years old, with my twin brother Joe, we would always challenge each other. I started with football when I was younger, and only started track when I was around 15, 16 years old. So
quite late then.
Yeah, pretty late. Yeah, but actually it's when my sister started. She was also around 15, and at some point we were like, this is a pretty cool sport. Why not try it out? And 2 years after her, we started running, and the first year we started, we went straight to World Youth Championship. So it went pretty quickly for us, and we knew that that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to run track. So
Yeah,
that's the start of the journey.
And obviously coming from like two parents that were also successful in sports and in athletics, did you obviously quickly find yourself having that easy transition from football to athletics, for example? Was it easy for you to get used to the sport?
Yeah, actually, we knew that we were fast. I mean, on the pitch, we would always run faster than the others, and we would like throw the ball and run behind,
Yeah, on the wing.
So yeah, exactly. So I mean, even in school, in the playground, we knew that we had something, but to know that we were going to run at the world level, no, not exactly, but yeah.
And did you feel any pressure because of your parents' success? Did you feel any pressure as a youngster to kind of meet their demands? No,
not at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. But one thing I always say is that I made the decision to run. I chose to start training. I chose to start competing, and it was my choice, and I've never had any pressure from my mom or my dad to start. So I think that was a good thing, starting track. Yeah.
Out of your siblings, are you the youngest or the oldest? Whereabout do you fit in with age?
All my siblings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there are 8 of us. So
Yeah. A big family.
Yeah. So Olivia is the oldest, and then it's Jonathan and I. And actually, I'm the third because Joe is 5 minutes older than me.
Yeah, because I was interested to know what was the competition like growing up, because I've got a brother, and like when we compete against each other, sometimes it can get a bit toxic, you know. So I'm interested to see what was it like. Was it always healthy competition?
Always.
Okay.
Always, especially with our sport. Sometimes, obviously, it can, because we are like real competitors. When it's something else, it's just a game. Sometimes, yeah, it can get a bit,
you
know. But with athletics, never, because I mean, we know what it takes to compete and to get on the starting line. So it's always we always try to push each other and to help each other to train and to get better, and that's the mindset we have.
And was that kind of like your father's, like, did he kind of create that environment, would you say, like within your family? Because obviously it's difficult to manage, you know, all these like talented youth. So did he kind of create that environment for you to, you know, have that healthy competitiveness?
I don't think that's no, I don't
naturally
think
maybe
that, yeah, I think it's just the relationship I have with Jonathan or even Dylan or my other siblings. It's just we understand each other very well, and we don't want to get into fights, or it's just I don't know, it's just I guess the relationship we have. But what my dad did is he created a professional environment for us, you know, where from the beginning we could immediately learn and try to train like pros, and so yeah, I guess it helped us a lot.
It's really interesting to see that dynamic, because I think in professional sports there's not that much, you know, like siblings that compete with each other and stuff. So do you feel like your brother, your twin brother especially, do you feel like he kind of helped you to be shaped for the athlete you are today, would you say?
Yeah, of course. But I think there are two sides. It's one, we help each other, we push each other, but on the other side is when one is down, but not only Jonathan, my twin brother, but also Dylan or Olivia, when she, for example, she was injured, it's kind of, I can't just say, oh, she's injured, it doesn't matter, I can still run. It just affects me also to know that my brothers or sister are injured or did not perform well, you know. Like, let's say you have 3 semifinals. I'm in the third one and Joe is in the second one. It sometimes it's hard to watch the race or to know what happened, because if he not failed, but if he doesn't run well, it can affect me, and I have to run after that, you know. Yeah. And sometimes, like, let's say back in 2012 semifinals, Joe finished, I think he finished third, so he wasn't qualified immediately, and I had to run after. But I had to say, okay, don't think about it. just do your thing and you'll see, you know. And that's the kind of thing that are really hard running with each other and doing the same thing.
Have you ever had a moment where you've been watching the race and he's won, and then it spurred you on and you've gone on to have a successful race, or does that hinder you?
It happened. I have an example with Dylan.
Okay.
In Prague, 2015. Joe and I were not running, but we watched Dylan first round, semi-final, and final, and he made it through obviously, and came second in the final. Wow, that's the kind of joy. It's hard to explain because it's not the stress is almost bigger when you watch than when you run yourself, because you're not in control. You're just like watching. And that was amazing.
Just hoping for a good result. So eventually you moved to the US to compete for Florida State University. What was that experience like?
Amazing. Actually, I couldn't speak any English, like nothing.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
Joe and I were nothing. And when some universities started to get interested in having us, we're like, yeah, we want to go, we want to try out and see what it's like. And we started to watch some movies and TV shows in English, so we could learn a little bit. But it was amazing, but hard at the same time, because when you go someplace you don't know and you can't speak the language, and but I'm glad we went, because obviously after when you were turned pro, you travel a lot, and you are by yourself. So I'm glad I went. I learned the English, and I'm still in touch with the coach over there, and it was an amazing experience.
In terms of learning a new language, I'm trying to learn Spanish at the moment. Would you give me any tips on how to learn a language, or how have you come this far?
I'm really bad at learning other language. Actually, I want to learn Dutch, but it just comes and goes, and it's like
I know, it's so difficult.
Yeah, that might be because of the rivalry, you know, in Belgium, you know, the French side, the Dutch side. So you might not want to learn it, but I'm the same as you.
I do, but
I'm joking. And so the language was a big factor. Like, you know, the whole culture of like college in the United States. How was that kind of for you how did you kind of adapt to that? Because the facilities must have been like completely different to back home. So tell us more about
that. I think the atmosphere in general, and the mentality, the way athletes would come to practice and would like cheer for each other and make sure everybody was pumped and ready to go. And we had an amazing coach over there, and he knew, obviously it was right after Beijing Olympics, and he knew that we were not just there to run and compete for the university, but also to improve and get better and try to go to the next World Championship and next Olympic Games. So he really understood that we were not just there to run every weekend and get tired after 2 months of competitions. And that was obviously great for us.
Yeah, and then obviously you mentioned the Beijing Olympics. So you went on to compete in your first Olympics. So how was that for you? Were you nervous, stressed, excited?
Excited, of course, but when I got to the Olympic Village, we got there like 3 days before. Couldn't sleep. Like I just couldn't sleep. Usually it's the day before, you like before the competition, but here we got there and couldn't sleep. And it's not like in a hotel. It's a village. It's apartments, and track and field is the second week. So a lot of athletes were done with their competitions.
Yeah.
And a lot of noise in the village, and it's just like overwhelming. It's just too much. And the next day, we went to see the doctor to see, okay, can we have something to sleep, because we compete in 2 days. If we go again tonight, it's not going to be good. So we had it wasn't really a big deal, sleeping pills, but not like a big one. It's just something to go to sleep. And he told me to just take that 2 days before, but not the night before. And Jonathan, I didn't tell Jonathan. And Joe, he couldn't sleep the day before. We had to wake up at 5 a.m. And I think at like 2 a.m. he took one because he couldn't sleep. And he told me in the morning. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
I mean, he ran really well, so it was fine. But we were so nervous, and he told me that before. I was like, no shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I can't imagine with all that chaos, and then having to try and perform whilst trying to sleep as well. It must have been not the best for a pre-performance routine, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but you get used to it, and you learn to manage the stress, and yeah. But obviously, it was the first Olympics, and I ran pretty well, not as good as I wanted in prelims, but I got through to the semi-final, and there in the semi-final I really went good, and yeah, it was an amazing experience. I just remember the stadium, get in the stadium after the core room and everything. It's one of the best memories actually, still now, from a big championship.
When you're lining up, what are the thoughts going on in your head just before the gun is about to shoot off? What's going through your head during those moments?
I focus on what I have to do, and that's the thing. Is I know, because you have a lot of thoughts, and sometimes bad thoughts. Sometimes, let's say, if you have not a strain, but like a little pain or whatever, you can think about, I don't want to get injured, or I don't want to, and I have to switch immediately. And that's why I have sequence in my race I can focus on. Okay. And that's the thing I always do. That's, yeah, it's I try always to go back to that kind of thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's shown in the research that focusing on task relevant things rather than task irrelevant things, like not focusing on the outcome, focusing on what you can control, really helps control that anxiety and control that stress, and you can have a better performance that way, for sure. So it's good that you're implementing that sort of stuff. Where did you learn that? Was it something that you implemented yourself, or was it with a sports psychologist?
First, my dad, when we started, he knew someone. It wasn't a sports psychologist. It was just someone that would teach, not always athletes, but people, people in general, to some breathing techniques, way to relax, to a knowledge when you are tense to feel that kind of things. And we learned pretty like at the beginning how to feel our body, how to breathe, how to all those little things that was really helpful during training or during the stressful period, like right before a competition. And later on, I always say we because usually I do stuff with Joe or Olivia, but went to see a sports psychologist who help us like kind of focus on relevant things, like you said, and try to write things down and know what to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, yeah. So from that experience at that first Olympics and you not being able to sleep, during your following Olympics, how did you cope with that? How did you improve on your previous performances from that first experience?
With the stress, I didn't improve.
Okay.
Good to know.
I mean, I knew that the thing is, the first Olympic is like, oh man, I'm there, and it's just amazing. But the second one was I put more pressure on myself, and I think I did pretty well. I mean, I came fifth, so I'm not gonna say that. But I'm still now in the final. I didn't handle myself well. I like, let's say I didn't want to watch the start list of the final before, because I knew that maybe I didn't want to think about it before going to bed. But then in the morning, when the stress is the level of stress is really high, I was like, oh, should I look at it? Or I didn't want to look at it. And we had like, not a meeting, but a briefing with my dad before the race. And that's when I learned I had the outside lane. And it was just like, oh shit. And from then on, I couldn't really focus on myself. So yeah, it was worse. Actually, Beijing wasn't bad, but there I was able to handle pressure to compete well, because I mean, I made the final, but in the final I didn't run the race I should have, and that's something I'm still a bit bitter about. But yeah, the way it is.
Is having that outside lane something that sprinters hate?
I guess so, because you don't have any target, or you don't really know. The thing is, if you're not able to focus on yourself and to know exactly what you have to do, it's always good to say, okay, I think I'm in the right rhythm, you know. But I was kind of, because of the stress and because I couldn't like feel and know at the time, because the pressure was really high, and I had nobody in front of me, I kind of like sit back and say, I was just asking myself, okay, am I fast enough or too fast? And then I saw the guy on the inside lane pass me at 200, and it's like, oh shit, that's not good. And yeah, it's too late. But now I'm just like, oh, it's a 400, either lane 1 or 8. It's just a 400, and I just try to work on my race during training, and with the previous races I ran. So,
which Olympics was this? Which has happened?
2012.
2012.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about that? Okay.
Yeah.
Out of all the Olympics you competed in, which one was your favorite, and why?
Beijing.
Okay.
Beijing, because it was the first one. I performed really well. Joe performed really well, and Olivia performed really well. And that's just, it was like day after day, just wow. And the emotion was like, yeah, so high. So was just amazing feeling all around the like from the beginning to the end, just amazing. And that, like I said, it's still now one of the best championship I've been part of. It's just yeah.
It's interesting you say that because we interviewed Martin Rooney, and he said exactly the same thing. His reasoning
Yeah.
was the stadium. He really loved the stadium. Yeah,
I still
so
have flash of myself entering the stadium for the first time. So I was so nervous for the prelims, but I just remember like coming in and just looking around. I say, "Wow, I'm here." It's yeah, it was an amazing feeling.
So obviously throughout your career, you've sustained a few injuries here and there. So injuries as an athlete is not always the easiest thing to cope with. So how did you kind of cope with injuries throughout your career mentally?
With all the injuries I had, and I didn't have a lot of injury, thanks. But I the first thing I would do is how can I say that? Like schedule all I have to do. Yeah, I would call and send emails to physio, doctors, like anybody that would be like on the staff and would take care of me, and say, okay, this happened. What do you have to do, and how are we gonna handle the next few weeks? And actually, usually it gave me a lot of not comfort but confidence doing that. The hardest is not the injuries like if I pull a hamstring, it's not easy, and but it's okay. The hardest is when you have like chronic pain, and that's sometimes, even if you schedule, even if you go see the physio every day or whatever, the pain is always there, and sometimes you don't know how to get out of it, and that's really tiring. That's the worst, I think, for an athlete.
Yeah, Ollie's had his experience of a chronic injury, haven't you? Oh,
Yeah, I had like a groin injury, and it was sort of like overuse, and it just took me ages to come back, like 8 months, because I was treating it like a tear. I didn't have the right professional advice, and then I did it as soon as I come back. I didn't strengthen it back up, and I went straight back out, and then I had to go through the rehab process again, and yeah, eventually got back. But I've never really been the same player since.
Yeah, but that's the thing, when athletes like sometimes don't have the right medical staff, or it's just you especially for athletes, they just want to get back, and they would do anything. They would just like train, and a lot of athletes just train too hard too soon, and yeah.
I think being in a team sport, for me, like being in football, I had pressures from teammates, managers asking me to come back earlier, and I had that pressure of coming back. Do you have a similar type of pressure maybe for yourself, or like your brother, your training partner wants to train with you? Was there any type of pressure like that to come back, or was it just yourself?
The pressure is like, I put pressure on myself, but it's also the like you have championship coming up. So a season like next year you have world championship, and that's the main target, and you have to focus on that and make sure you'll be able to run and to compete before. And so that's the pressure we have.
Yeah.
Other than that, not really. I think I'm lucky. I have a great medical staff, and so when I'm injured or I have a problem, like they always try to make sure I'm going on the right path, and they try to get me back on my feet as fast as possible. So yeah, the only real pressure is the limit date, the due date or whatever. But that's the pressure we have.
I think the method you use is I think it's goal setting in the sense. Did you kind of set yourself goals to like small goals to attain throughout the recovery process? Is that kind of what you did?
Yeah, but also like the physio would help a lot because it'd say, okay, in the first week or first 2 weeks, that's our goal, and then if you were able to do that after 3 weeks, that's perfect. That's where we need to go, and so obviously it would help a lot when you reach those goals, and you're able to, and you see the progress, obviously, because at first, especially when you pull a hamstring, you can't even walk and say, how am I going to be able to run in like 2 weeks? And then after 2 weeks, you're like, oh, I can jog. Oh, nice. And you can see the progress. So yeah, but like I said, I'm really lucky to have a good medical staff around me.
No, yes, it's definitely a technique that's used a lot for injured athletes in like psychology. So it's really interesting that you actually use that, and it seemed to work perfectly for you. So yeah. So we briefly touched upon your father. So obviously your father has coached you for many years now. What would you say are the advantages and the disadvantages to be coached by your father? Challenging question, I know, but
that's something I always say, is that I didn't choose my dad, but I chose my coach. I think he's one of the best coach out there for the 400. I really believe that, and that helps to just say, okay, I'm coached by one of the best. What's hard is there's more than just coach athlete relationship, and sometimes it gets in the way of the like training process, or and you can get more emotional, I guess, if he says something, and sometimes you don't want to hear anything, but it's just because he's your dad, and you know, like you wouldn't like do that or hear the same thing from a coach, but you do with your dad, and sometimes that's the tricky part, and it's not always easy to hear things like, he's my coach, okay, that's what he wants me to do, and that's to make the difference. It's sometimes really hard because I mean we train really hard every day, and sometimes it's too much, and you're like, yeah, dad, shut up.
of course.
Yeah, because like throughout my life, my dad's been my manager at football, and
Okay.
I always found that if I had a bad performance or things, sometimes it could make its way home, and we'd carry on chatting about it. And sometimes, like being a player, you just want silence, especially when you get home after a bad performance and you constantly got him like nabbing away at you. Did you ever have that affect you? Or was it very easy for you guys to just switch off, like whatever happens at training, whatever happens at the track, stays at the track, and you're able to come home?
I think one thing was that we never really I never really lived with my dad. Right. So because my mother and father are divorced, first I lived with my mom, and then when I left and started track, and later on I immediately I lived by myself or with Joe. as roommates. So I wasn't like training and then go home with my dad or.
Okay.
So I think that's a good thing actually, because
definitely.
sometimes during practice you just like you you get angry, you're tired, and someone's like, oh, get up and go again. But some days you don't want to, and if it's your dad, it's like
Yeah. There's a dynamic in CrossFit with it's Tia Claire Tuma, and her husband coaches her. And that's like, you see in training, he'll be like, right, let's go again. And she's like, come on, like, I do not want to do this.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
And how do you think your dad, your father, how does he get the best out of you, would you say?
Oh. It's I think from the beginning to now it evolves a lot, and what I've learned is that I have to engage in a positive conversation. So it's like, it's not only like, oh, we have to do this. No, it's how we're gonna like schedule the season, how we're gonna make sure that we're going to improve this year. And so when I started doing that and trying to build up everything with him, it would help a lot. And the same, I think, with him. So at first, when you young athletes, you don't know anything actually, so you just like listen. And, but it, like, the relationship evolved, and I think in between we had like kind of like more conflicts, because I wanted to be part of the process, and it would still treat me like, oh, you are a young athlete or whatever. But yeah, now I just try to build things, and like, yeah, it's kind of hard to really know. And like I said, it's because he's my dad. It's kind of sometimes it's hard to know exactly how he do things. You know what I mean? It's because it's everything is kind of mixed up. Like everything is, and so yeah, I try to, like I said, to get involved with him, and make sure we can improve as a team.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So something I've started doing with every guest is sort of getting their insight into what psychological qualities you feel have made you successful. Because for listeners, we have a lot of athletes listening, young athletes, young academy players who are coming up. And it's interesting to hear what they could develop psychologically that maybe the elite have developed and they haven't. So what has made you so successful in 400 meters?
I think I was able to cope with pressure, like from the beginning. Obviously, I was lucky to have people around me that could like teach me, and but I remember a lot of people ask me, how is it for you in the core room? What do you feel? And actually, that's the moment where it's kind of the pressure is off. I'm just this is it. I've worked for this moment, and I know what I have to do, and I think I'm able to concentrate, focus on myself, and obviously some championship of some race I messed up, but one thing is I can really focus, and that helped me a lot during my career.
Okay. Yeah, in terms of your focusing, obviously before races, you've got like maybe a pre-race routine. So from the minute you wake up to the minute you perform, what is that routine like for you?
Usually I don't want to, like, when I wake up, obviously breakfast, and I try to eat the thing I usually eat, but I don't want to do anything. I know some athletes just want to either chat or go for a walk, but me, I like to stay by myself, watch a movie, or I love watching movies before a race. Yeah.
What's your go-to movie?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Which is your favorite movie to watch before?
I don't want to watch a movie I've seen before, so I try to.
Okay.
Now with Netflix, it's easier.
Easy, yeah.
But it helps me take my mind off, because that's the thing. As long as I'm not warming up or performing, I don't want to think about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do, I try to go back to things I can control, I can focus on, and positive thoughts or whatever. And watching a TV show or a movie that helped me take my mind off the competition.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because Oliver and I have spoken about, so I'm not saying we weren't prepared for like this podcast, but we're the most comfortable when, you know, everything we're busy before, because if we have nothing to do before, like a podcast or anything like this, we overthink it and we stress, and that we thrive just like you know, just like it's interesting to see the, you know, the dynamic with podcasting.
I feel like it's things you do in general. It's not only in sports, it's in a lot of areas. You have to, I think we talked about it, you have to acknowledge that there's pressure, there's stress, and you have to learn how to cope with it, rather than, because I know athletes that like, oh, no stress today, I feel good, blah blah blah, but you can see them in the core room, or there's just like
restless.
Okay. And then you know that especially if he's in your team, like 4x4 whatever, it's just like fuck.
Yeah
just try to focus, chill, they stress, just know it, and try to cope with it.
Yeah, I think it's like having trust in your own ability as well, because often you can overthink like the little things and try and make every little thing perfect. Like, say for this podcast, if I try to word questions perfectly and really focused on that, especially during the intro and stuff, I'd just mess up. Whereas if I trust my ability to be able to communicate and articulate, then it's just going to flow much better. And I imagine it's the same with performance. You know what you need to do, and you just got to step up and do it.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you have to think about. Like, okay, I've done this. I know what I have to do. Just do it, and you'll see what happens. But do that, and don't try to overthink, and because otherwise the pressure and the stress level is gonna get high, and you're not gonna be able to control anything at the end, and you're gonna mess up.
Mm-hmm. It seems to me that maybe, so, you know, in the 4x400 meter relay team, it would have been useful to have, like, I don't know, like a psychologist, maybe talk with the team in general, because obviously you've had support on the side with a psychologist, but maybe your teammate hasn't, so it would be beneficial.
True, but the problem is, especially in track and field, it's an individual sport, and the 4x4, it's not, you have to perform by yourself first. So you're gonna hand off the baton,
Mm-hmm.
but that's you and only you running. So, and you have to know what fits you the best, what you want to know, how you can, because I know that the way I function is not the best way for somebody else. I know that, but every athlete needs to understand how he things works best for him, and how he can improve the way his way of functioning.
What do you think about the state of sports psychology and kind of like mental health in Belgium? Like we kind of briefly discussed it yesterday, but what do you think? Do you think it could improve, or?
Obviously, I mean,
it's interesting for me because I'd love to work in Belgium as a sports psychologist trainee. So for me, what I see is that it's not developed enough compared to countries such as the UK, the US, and I think Belgium is a bit behind. So yeah, it'd be interesting, you know.
Yeah, I think the problem in sports in general is when you look at federations, they're old school, and so they don't try to make sure that athletes have every resources they need. And I know athletes that don't work with sports psychologists, and it's perfect for them. It's just the way they do things is just, and I'm like, oh, I wish I would be able to do that, but I'm not. And the way I was lucky enough to have people around me at the beginning, and to immediately understand how I had to work, how I had to approach competition. But obviously, I don't think enough athletes know, and it's obviously not developed enough in Belgium.
Maybe athletes here think that you need that kind of mental support only when you have a problem, but we've talked about this countless times. Like, it's not only that. And I think there's a stigma. It's like, you know, when you go to see a psychologist, it's like, oh, you have a problem. But sports psychology is like, it's more than that. It's, you can improve your performance just like you go to the gym, you know, you're going to the gym with your brain when you see a sports psychologist. So yeah, I think it's important to realize.
It's always like, what's the problem? Because when you in front of your start and ready to go, if you can't focus, that's a problem. So
yeah, true.
The whole reason why I got into psychology was because I think the difference between being good and great is being able to cope during those really pressure moments where it really matters. And I think the perfect person for that is Usain Bolt. Like, how he manages himself on that race day is like nothing phases him. He's just able to step up and just, I mean, there's talks of him eating chicken nuggets and stuff before. Like, he's just not bothered.
It's crazy guy. He's too comfortable. I think we were talking about this also. I think that would really put me off if I was in the lane, like next to him, like fist bumping the, you know, the workers that are, you know, like the.
But
stewards.
It's like Kevin says, everything's individual. So what might work for Usain Bolt might not work for John, might not work for me, because we may need a higher arousal to perform better. Whereas he's able to perform like a lower arousal. So everyone has different levels what they need to get to in order to achieve their optimum performance.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. So we've talked a lot about your career now. So we're really interested to kind of know how you kind of disconnect from athletics. So from track and field. What do you do at home to kind of, because it's important, as you probably know, to have that moment to yourself, you know?
It is, and sometimes it's not easy. That's for sure. First thing is, I don't want to talk about practice. I just when I'm at practice, I will just, okay, that's what I have to do. I will do the job, and once it's done, okay, go home, and I don't want to talk about the next day. And because a lot of, especially maybe not young, but a lot of athletes like to talk about the training week. I'm not. I don't want to know. I would look at the program on Sunday, for example, and I know what I have to do, but I don't want to talk about it. When I was younger, wouldn't be a problem, but now I just, and I know that I'm gonna not perform, but be at 100% and give it my all at practice, and that's no problem. But I don't want to talk about it. That's one thing, and I just do things I enjoy. But sometimes, like, I love motorsport. That's
Okay.
Since I'm a little kid. I just that's the kind of thing I sometimes want to do, but I can't because of the obviously
Injuries.
Yeah. The risks are too high.
Especially if you're not any good.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about that or watch Formula One races, watch MotoGP, maybe sometimes go karting and yeah, that's the kind of thing. Or go watch a movie, play video games sometimes because athletes have a lot of times on their hands.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch or talk too much about track and field.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so after your career finishes, what do you see yourself doing after that?
It's actually, I don't really know. I have a lot of ideas, and sometimes, like, first, I'd love to have to be able to teach what I've learned, and try to make sure other young athletes be able to have like what I've had. Like my dad put a great stuff around me since the beginning, and I feel like other athletes should have the same, and be able to give the absolute best from the beginning. Because I feel like sometimes just, oh, you're talented, okay, run. 2 years later, it's not good enough. Ciao. And I think we need to improve in Belgium. We need to improve that kind of thinking. So if I can be involved in trying to educate the youngster,
Nice.
I'm glad to do it. That's one thing. And I have
Pursue your motorsport dream.
Yeah, F1, go F1, compete against Hamilton.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Not F Formula One, of course, but if I can compete in a
or being an actor because you love movies so much, go into acting.
I would suck. So I have ideas and projects, but I don't know. Like Martin Rooney. Loughborough, and I think I don't know exactly what he does, but I think it's something that fits him really well.
Yeah, he's doing is it athletic coordinator at the college, I think. So yeah, he's basically mentoring like the up and coming athletes, just like you said. So it's cool.
It's definitely good, like passing on your knowledge and your for sure. It's a good goal. But in terms of all our questions, that's all we had for you. But we obviously asked on social media if they got any questions for you. And this is the part where me and John just rattle them off one by one and get your insight into the questions. So the first one is talking about Martin Rooney, to be fair. You've raced plenty of great rivals over the years. Which one of those was your favourite?
obviously I'm gonna my favorite would be Jonathan, my twin.
Yeah.
Because there's no rivalry. Like you just go and you don't care if he beats you or whatever. We just try to perform. But obviously running against Martin since I think '06 and being able to race each other every year, and at some point, I guess at first you just like, I want to beat him. But you have so much. I have so much respect for Martin and the way he performed and like I remember in 2016 European champion. I messed up my race, but I was just like, wow, he did it. I know his season up until the European Championship wasn't that great for him, but he was able to show up and perform and win. And yeah, I have a lot of respect for him, and he's kind of like a friend now. So I would say Martin. I mean, we've been racing each other for so long, so
yeah.
Is he like the funny guy of the like 400-meter event? Because it seems like it. It seems like he's the clown, you know, like the little class clown.
I don't know, but that's the one I would talk to in the core room
Yeah.
because we know each other and we know there's stress, we know there's pressure, but a lot of respect, and we just chat before race and wish each other the best. That's yeah.
Yeah, he definitely made us laugh during our podcast when we talked to him. So yeah. So the second question was, do you find it hard to manage athletics and family time?
So far, no, but once again, I'm kind of lucky because my girlfriend runs track as well. So I think it's harder for Joe and Dylan, obviously. But other than that, like it hasn't been too hard for me. And one thing is, I set goals and I do everything to achieve it, and that makes me able, I guess, to just do the job every day, and once it's done, focus on other things and like family. So no, it hasn't been too hard.
Nice. Okay, so the third one is, do you think you could have raced under 44 seconds if it wasn't for the physical barriers?
Wasn't for the physical barriers. What,
like the physical, if there was any the niggles, the injuries, maybe he means.
Because
maybe you can skip.
If there is no physical barriers, I could have run like 41.
Exactly. I guess the answer is yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Like, I feel like maybe in 10 years, I'm gonna think about what I've done and how I train, and maybe with the new new science, new technique, maybe I'd say maybe if I've done that. But I don't consider myself like the best in the world. Like my body type, the way I. So when I see some athlete, I'm just like, yeah, I can't compete against them. It has never been a problem for me because I don't care. Even though you have two heads, you two heads taller. I'm here to beat you. So that wasn't a problem. But I think I've done so far, because I don't want to put barriers. ahead of me. Let's say I can maybe run faster still, but so far I think I've done. How do you say? I've done the best I could, or maybe obviously if I had better condition, the day I've run my PB, maybe I could have gone faster. Or I don't know, but
It's good that you feel like you've reached your optimum and you're content with how your career's gone. That's great.
Yeah, so far, I mean, like I said, I could have gone maybe 1/10, 2/10, depending on the condition, and but I've tried to extract the maximum, and maybe I can go a bit faster, but I don't think I could have gone like 5 or 6/10 faster. I don't have
Yep.
I don't think so.
Okay. So the fourth question was, what advice would you give a young 400-meter sprinter who would like to make it at the highest level? Just do it.
This is it. This is ready for your mentoring.
Yeah. We're practicing.
Yeah.
We're practicing now.
Yeah, I mean, get ready for the tough sessions because
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good. That's a reality.
No, it's true.
yeah, but I feel, but that's for everything. I feel like you really need to have goals and to go through the training. It's not, you're not gonna do it just because you want to be good at it, or you like it's yeah, it's hard to. I feel like you don't, like, for young people, I wouldn't say you're gonna be a 400 meter runner. I would say train, see what you want to do. Like when I started, I ran 100, 200, and maybe 1 400 the first, or 2 400. But that's not like, oh, I want to go again next week. It's when I was able to run faster and improve, and that's when you started to get to be enjoyable. So and that's how you really start. But I wouldn't say I want to focus on the 400. That's the first thing I would like say. Just train, enjoy, and try to do a little bit of everything, and you'll see.
Yeah, that's common across all the Olympians we've had on, that originally maybe they weren't focused on one event, and then throughout trying a lot of it, they found out that they're natural at one of them, and that's what they've gone and done a career in. And I think you promoting enjoyment there, that's so important, because you can get obsessed with just getting good at that one event, where throughout your early career, if you're enjoying it, then you develop that love for it, and training isn't as difficult during those hard sessions, like you said. So it's definitely an important factor to develop. The final question is, and you've got to guess who asked this as well, who is the best drinker out of the 400 meter runners?
Martin?
Yes.
Yeah, Martin for sure. The parties after championships are just crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, that's the final, like, every athlete there have trained the whole season just for that, and once it's over, just like, okay,
Do you all mingle together? Like it's like a big family of 400 meter runners.
Yeah, 400, but every athlete is just.
Oh, okay.
It's the end. It's just okay. We're here. We've done it, and we can enjoy now. So that's.
So we're saying that Martin's a better drinker than you, or are you a better drinker than him?
He's a better drinker than me.
Oh, come on. You're not doing Belgium proud. Come on.
No, I'm on that side now.
Okay.
But he's more like whiskey and coke and.
Oh, yeah. We're the beers kind of guys.
Yeah,
The Belgians.
exactly.
Couldn't handle us on the beers.
I disagree with that statement. We'll agree to disagree. No, but they're all the questions we had for you. Thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Normally during this moment, we give you, our guests, a moment to shout anything out that they've got going on. All your socials will be in the description of the YouTube video. Is there anything you want to shout out?
Not really. I mean,
Shout out to Winston.
The boy.
He's sleeping, snoring on the carpet.
All right, nice one. So if you could please share this with your friends or someone you feel will benefit from it. Most importantly, like, subscribe, comment down below any questions or guests you'd like us to get on in the future. Also, go follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Links will be in the description of the YouTube video, or find us at Master in the Mind podcast. Other than that, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.